Hi, my name is Calico Vargas. I'm the coordinator for the MSW Field Program here at CSUP. I have a DSW and an LSW. My phone number is on here. You can feel free to text me and I can get back to you. You can call that number. Also, my email address, just make sure it doesn't get auto-corrected to have one L in Calico so that I don't have access to the email and it goes somewhere else. So field is the backbone of social work education, and we take it very seriously in our program. I would say that you could probably compare it somewhat to someone going into like PA school or nursing school, where they have a didactic portion, which is the book work, and a clinical portion, which is when they're out in the field and getting experience through the actual hands-on learning. And that is what sets social work apart from other fields that are helping in nature and not in the medical world. We have a few definitions that are key here to understand, and those evolve around the roles of people involved in your field experience. There's the field coordinator, which I explained is who I am. We'll talk more about what I do in a minute. The field liaison, which is your professor in the classroom for field seminar and practicum. Your field instructor is the person in the field that you meet with weekly to give you field supervision, we call it, and also a perspective of social work on the learning that you're doing there. A task supervisor is a person that you might have overseeing the tasks you're doing in the field if the field instructor is off-site and not present, and that happens sometimes. And then, of course, the student, which is you. We all work together to make this experience what it is. And as the field coordinator, I share with students up to about 3 different opportunities based on their experience and interest. I orient students, staff, and faculty to our program. I oversee the whole field program for the MSW program. I do work in coordination with our BSW program coordinator and for field, and I also work hand in hand a lot with our MSW program coordinator. So I will credential and approve agencies, field instructors, and task managers. I also will stay up to date with the CSWE and EPAS, and then I make updates to our field manual. Some of the things in this manual haven't been updated quite yet because we had changes this past summer that occurred, and we have technically until 2025 to update our field manual, but we decided to stick with some of the things that have been going on since COVID happened and allow for work-based placements. But we are in this video going to start introducing how that looks specifically, how it does not look specifically, and those are going to be rolled out soon in the MSW Field Manual as a priority in our program to avoid confusion. I also will update Tavera with the classes, the people involved in Tavera, and assignments. Another role is your field liaison, the professor who teaches your seminar and practicum course. They are often the ones working with the agencies on behalf of the student in the practicum. They guide students in learning more about field in a classroom setting and giving and grading assignments. They also meet with the agency and field instructor as needed, once in the first 5 weeks face-to-face, and again towards the end of the semester in any mode needed. And usually they do a check-in mid-semester at some point as well. That often happens on Tavera. They can check in on the learning plan, timesheets, midterm evaluation, and the final learning plan, and they're a signer for most of the documents you have in Tavera. Usually documents go from student signature to field instructor, then to field liaison. They evaluate the student performance in total for the field seminar and practicum with considerations from the field instructor. So the field instructor is the one who meets with the students once a week to go over whatever tasks and work in the field they're doing from a social work lens. They meet with the field liaison face-to-face during the first 5 weeks of the semester with the student. They sign off and help with the learning plan, timesheets, midterm evaluation, and the final learning plan activities form. They give an evaluation of the student's work while in the field so that the field liaison from the classroom can assign a final grade. They also will meet with the liaison toward the end of the semester about student performance and may work within the placement agency or be from outside of the agency. They can evaluate the student performance over the 9 competencies in the field using our documents in Tavera. The task supervisor is that person who helps oversee students that are assigned to tasks when a field instructor is not able to do so. They meet with the field liaison and the field instructor face-to-face during the first 5 weeks of the semester as well, and then continue throughout the time in field to meet with that field instructor as needed and the student around student performance. The student is the main ingredient of the field experience. Your learning and the field opportunity is your job. You'll often get out what you put in. This is an opportunity for hands-on learning and for students to show their own capabilities. Meeting with the field liaison and the field instructor face-to-face during the first 5 weeks of the semester is essential as you get started and create your learning plan. Students are responsible for being in field classes, turning in all of the classroom assignments, timesheets, learning plans, etc., and working with their field instructor to make sure everything is turned in on time. Students must be aware of and follow the 9 competencies in the field experience. It is, since COVID, a luxury to be able to, in some cases, use employment for field, or even to receive stipends or money from an agency for having field hours. But it is not a guarantee. Students are expected to put in the time and effort, even if they are not being paid, and must obtain all the hours over the course of the 2 16-week sessions involved in their field experience. This varies a bit depending on whether you're advanced standing or generalist. Advanced standing and generalist hours will be gone over at the end. So there are contracts involved, and we as professional social workers do not take our commitments lightly. We are running forth and showing that our competency number 1 is on ethical and professional behavior. And we have worked really hard to establish and maintain relationships of trust in our community. As the field coordinator, I put in a lot of effort to meet at the agency, to take a tour. I take time from those people, interview with them, talk with them, explain what we're needing, see how we can work together, see the kinds of work that they're doing and how it might fit in with our learning competencies. It is a little bit of a process. And then we take time to build those relationships and keep them ongoing through our orientations we hold, through the field instructor relationships we develop, the field liaisons that reach out, previous students who've been in that agency and represented themselves in our university to their best. And so quitting or changing a placement is not okay. And doing so can lead to a level 1, 2, or 3 review, a loss of hours in the field, or even a loss of an opportunity to have a different placement with our program. Change in or quitting the placement always needs to be approved by the field coordinator, MSW program coordinator, and the department chair, even if it's employment-based or money is involved. There are processes and policies everywhere you go in the professional world, and this is no different. We have things in place that protect our students, that protect our agencies, and these absolutely, no question about it, need to be followed, whether this is a job that you have and are doing your field placement in, or it's a field placement not tied to any funding. If you are terminated from the field, it is not guaranteed that the university will put in another placement for you. And you have to complete field in order to graduate. As I said, we hold our agencies and field instructors to the same standards as our students and expect contracts to be fulfilled and problems to be addressed according to the same policy as students, because we value our students and have worked to build trusting relationships with them as well. So that is why it is imperative that we ask everyone involved in this process to follow the policies we have in place when there is an issue or problem in field. Step 1 is always going to be to talk to the problem or talk to the person you have a problem with, or that is having some power over the problem first. Step 2 would be to go to the field instructor or the task supervisor. That's the people at the agency. Since they're there, and if the problem is in the agency, that's a great place to start because they're more familiar than people outside the agency. The next step would be, if you're not satisfied, to have a meeting with the field instructor, task supervisor, and the field liaison. This is easy to set up. Simply reach out to your field liaison, let them know what's been going on at the agency, let them know about the meeting you've already had with your field instructor, task supervisor, or both, and then ask if they can set up another meeting that they would be kind of mediating and overseeing. Then, if you're still unsatisfied, you can talk with your field instructor, task supervisor, field liaison, and me, the field coordinator. If the field liaison reaches out to me and they tell me that you all had a meeting, that it involved all the correct people, that you followed the correct processes, we are going to set up a meeting that I will then coordinate and oversee to try to get to the bottom of the problem. If it's still not resolved, then you will be able to have me, the field coordinator, reach out to our program coordinator and set up a meeting with all of those same people in an effort to correct and fix any problems that exist. Then and only then, if it is found to be with good reason, we can consider a termination of the placement. Until all of those steps have been followed and the process has been gone through, we don't just on a whim decide I'm changing placements, I'm quitting this agency, I'm not doing this. I would not be okay with a field agency doing that to a student, and I am not okay with a student doing that to an agency. These people in place for your field experience are all in place for good reason, and they all need to be involved if it is such a big issue that there needs to be a change that is that significant. Tavera is our software program, and this is where everything field is housed. Your field instructor, your student, your field liaison, and me, the field coordinator, are the people who have access to this platform. So anything outside of that that you might need someone to sign off on, you're probably going to have to print the document off, get a signature, and upload it. Otherwise, students, field instructors, field liaisons, and field coordinators have access and can sign. First off, right at the beginning, this first week of field, please try to get your acceptance contracts for field in and your background information done. These are the student's responsibility, and they must be turned in if you do not want to have your field experience paused this semester. So please get those done this week. Hello, this is Dr. Calico Vargas. I am here to run you through a little bit of our Tavera program so that hopefully if you have questions, you can refer back to this. So first thing is first, this is what it'll look like when you are on your home page. You can see these 4 little squares in the top left. There is a learning space that if you click on it, it can give you information and resources for getting started. You can watch videos and read and learn a lot about Tavera right here in this area. You can see that I just re-click on something if I want it to close back up. Advanced time alerts. See, I can start that lesson. Okay, I can close out of that lesson and close it again like this, close that whole section up, the basics of assignments, the basics of site placements. So with that being said, a lot of the time what you're going to do is start in your home area, because then you can either choose to learn, you can go right to assignments, right to timesheets, right to site placements. I'm going to go to timesheets. This seems to be an area of confusion often. And in this, I will say that if you are a 600 level advanced standing student, please click on the 688 and 689 timesheet spaces. You are also going to need to click MSW program and OK. And then you will be able to choose your clinical site. It should already be connected to you. If it is not, make sure you email me. I am the person who updates things into Vera. Your supervisor should be, you could see it's an agency task supervisor here. And it could also be your field instructor. We are going to look at, what does this do? More actions. You shouldn't need to use this today. You can decide to go on a monthly timesheet, a weekly timesheet, day, agenda, track. Okay, I prefer track. So if you are a 500 level student and you are a generalist and this is your first time into Vera, you will click on this Pueblo weekly timesheet, social work 588 and 589. That will be where your information will go. So in order to get into this track and decide how much time I've spent in which of these learning activities, I will simply need to click here and I can say I spent 1 hour. Let's say 1 o'clock. Oops, 1 hour and my time started at 4:30, ended at 5:30. Okay, 60 minutes. And you can tell here that this is the supervisor. These are my activities. This is my training site. You can double check all of that if you want. And that's it, okay? I've loaded that up. Now, in order to get signatures on the time that I have worked, and say it's just 1 hour, but you're going to probably put the whole week's worth of hours in before you send it for a signature. I'm going to go back to assignments, either by clicking it here on the left or by going up to the home again and clicking on it here. I forgot to look and see what week I had there. I remember it being January, I believe. But I would find that week or that learning plan or whatever it might be that I am trying to get signatures on next, because that's the process. It has to be student, field instructor, field liaison for most of these assignments. Okay, so if I click not started, I can start it. It's going to give me the date range that I'm going to put in. I, again, don't remember what the date range was because I forgot to look. Then it's going to have me click on who is my site supervisor. And maybe I'm going to say my site supervisor is an agency task supervisor. Maybe I'm going, but it's going to have a name there for you because it will be filled in specifically for you. Then the program faculty or staff is going to be your field instructor. So that would be whoever is teaching this class for you. I'm going to use an example of Dr. Yoon because she is one of the people teaching the 600 level class at this moment. And then I can click here. It's MSW. And I can include associated notes if I want to. And it should allow me to send for signatures. I messed up something here. You can see that everything is green, that's okay, but the things that I messed up are red. So I have the wrong date. I'm gonna go cheat over here a little bit. I'm gonna look over here, weekly timesheet 11220. So if that is incorrect, I can correct it. 112 right to 118. So 112 to 118. There you go. Look, it turned from red to green. Then what is this? Track. Okay. I was working last in the 500 level. If you're a 500 level student, you're clicking on social work 588 and 589. If you're a 600 level student, you're clicking on social work 688 and 689. Please do those things. And then that is correct. And now I can send it off for signatures. And then it's going to go to the people that I have selected For my site person, which is your field instructor, the person who's giving you that supervision weekly, they may not be on site, but they are definitely the person giving you your instruction every week. And then your other person is going to be the person teaching this field class. It is not me for your timesheets, okay? Make sure you select the correct person, and then you can just see what it looks like. And right up at the top, you'll see the field liaison's name, the task supervisor, which will be your field instructor there. It's got your timesheet with 500 level being 588, 589, 600 level being 688, 689. This is a student test, but it will say your name and the date range that you were talking about, okay? Then I'm gonna sign it and send it. And the password I entered was not correct, but that's probably because every time I get in here, I have to change the password. Okay, let's try that. Did it work? Let's see. Hopefully. Yes, okay, perfect. I'm gonna say no thanks. All right, look here, site placements. Your site placement will be here, okay? You're gonna select MSW if you're an MSW student. If that pops up for you, you can browse all the program sites. You could also just say that you are at the Boys and Girls Club. You can check in here and see what we have about this site. So back to the home screen. Another thing that you can look for is messages for you will be right here. You can send and receive messages just like an email at this location. If somebody rejects something that you filled out or sends it back to you, that's where it's going to be. Learning space, again, please go here and learn what you can before you begin or as you're beginning. Timesheet section, I advise going with this track. Make sure you select 500 level, 600 level, depending on what you're in. And then here is a breakdown of all the assignments that you've gotten in. You have to start it. You have to finish filling that part out as an assignment, send it for signatures, and you have to sign it before it goes. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Please know that you can reach out when you need to. I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. I have provided information on this presentation that gives you my cell phone number. It gives you my email address. And I wish you the very best this semester. You are going to rock it. I'll talk to you soon. So, again, please get your acceptance contract and your background information done ASAP during the first week of field. You can find timesheets, learning plan, learning activities and evaluation, your midterm evaluation, background information, and your acceptance contract all within Tavera. Your field liaison and field instructor task supervisor has many responsibilities, so please be respectful and ensure assignments are turned in on time. So your professors, as much as I hope they're making you feel like you're the only student that they have, the fact of the matter is they have more than one class, maybe 3, maybe 4 classes. Maybe they're a program coordinator or field instructor or a program coordinator, and they have half their job in field and half in teaching. Regardless, they have a lot of other students and other responsibilities, deadlines to meet just like you do. So please communicate with all the people in your circle professionally and understand that they have other obligations in other areas that they're working in, including your field instructor and task supervisor. They are probably doing this completely free out of the goodness of their heart. Give them the deadlines, the notices that you have as you have them so that they know, like, I am going to be turning this learning plan into you and it's due by this date. So if you could please sign off on it as quick as possible, I'll shoot you an email to make sure you saw it, or I'll give you a text or let you know at work. But work with them and let them know how important their part of the role is, but help them to make sure that they're hitting those deadlines with you. And then please take advantage of their knowledge and experience, talk with them, and make the most of the time you have together. How do we calculate hours in our program? So we follow the academic calendar for CSUP, and there is a link in the next slide for that academic calendar. But no more than 20 hours a week, whether you're employed or not, can be counted in the field each week. And generalists spend spring and summer with 448 hours, 224 in the spring and 224 in the summer, and must fulfill their hourly and weekly commitments. So it's going to average out somewhere between usually 16 and 18 hours a week. And the advanced standing students for fall and spring had 500 total hours, or 250 in the fall and 250 in the spring. And again, it must be that they're fulfilling all the hours and the weekly commitment that follows our academic calendar. So finally, here are some helpful links for you. Our Department of Social Work has a web page. That's the first link. Our academic calendar you can find on the second link. And then we have a social work field page where you can get to know more information about field. Our field manual is housed there. A link to Tavera is at the bottom of that page. The hours and everything are listed. Please know again that some of these updates that are occurring with work-based employment field opportunities will be updated in our field manual. CSWE gives us about, from the time they were changes were made, I think we have until 2025 to implement all of the changes. We are going to be updating that field manual sooner than later. We have written out some of those expectations and what those updates will look like in this presentation. It does not matter in your field practicum whether or not you are employed by the agency or receiving a stipend from the agency. The same rules and the same policies are going to apply. And we do expect students to follow those procedures and policies because we are professionals, and that's what we're learning to do, is work as a professional in the community with other people who are in our agencies and in other agencies in a collaborative way. So I thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best. Please reach out if you have any questions, problems, if something isn't coming up correctly for you on Tavera. I'm the go-to person to try and help troubleshoot those issues and find solutions with you. And I will look forward to working with each one of you at your wonderful agencies and your wonderful professors and field instructors and task supervisors. Have a wonderful day.